Hey there, I'm Ken. This is Canadian Retro Things. Welcome. I recently became the latest YouTuber to get their hands on the roaming Spectrum. So I decided to take it on a road trip. Now I can hear a bunch of you out there saying, what is the roaming Spectrum? Well, it is a ZX Spectrum that is currently making its way around the world to different YouTubers as they all do different things with it. They do repairs to it, they do add-ons, they just write programs for it, stuff like that. So, I can hear you also asking, how did I get a hold of this? Well, come a little closer and I will tell you. In September, I attended ThunderCon in Thunder Bay, Ontario with the Thunder Bay Retro Computer Club. There'll be a little bit more about this in my summer wrap-up video coming soon. While there, I met up with Robin of 8-Bit Show and Tell, who was the previous custodian of the roaming Spectrum. He handed the computer off to me. I was about to drive back to the west coast of Canada, so I decided to show the Spectrum some of the sights on the way. The first stop was my cabin, so I could unbox the computer and get it ready to travel with me. The traveling Specky is now in my hands. Alright, so I picked up these two boxes from Robin when I saw him at ThunderCon the other day. So I guess one box is going to be going on to Australia after me, and the other one is going back to England. So, let's open this top one first and see what we have in here. And we have some bubble wrap. Okay, so this is the extras box. So, what we have is so here is a speaker. This would be for the, there's a sound card, I believe, or something like that. So there, we got a speaker. This is one of the extras that was added to it. And this is some dead parts. Yeah, right there, dead parts written on here. So this is an adapter that, yeah, I'm going to need this to run the Specky because this is a North American plug. So this is the one thing out of this extra box that I am definitely going to be using. I will be actually trying to run the Specky when I get back home before I send it off to its next destination. I'm not going to have any time to actually do any interesting modifications or anything to it. I'm just going to get a chance to play my very first actual Spectrum. So we've got a couple of cards in here. What do we have? So this is a pass-through card, breakout extended card. Okay. Oh, this is a sound. So the speaker would go with this because there's a volume knob on here. So the speaker would attach to this card. So this is obviously a I guess a sound card for the Specky, I'm going to guess. I'm not 100% sure on that, but... Now, moving on to the next box, which I'm assuming includes the Specky. Okay, so let's open this up. So, okay. More paint pens for signing. Couple of ROM, diagnostic ROM games. So, okay, this is, so there's, that would go with this. So there's 3 different chips that can go in here. There's a 64 ROM games, 16 ROM games, and 4 ROM diagnostics. So maybe we'll try that out with the diagnostic cartridge when I get home. And what do we have here? We have a cartridge. Looks like another Dandinator Mini. So we'll have to try that one out too. And it looks like here is the prize. Ah, look at that. Commodore Security. I wonder who put that in there. There it is. This is the roaming Specky. There's some of the signing here. So David Murray, Adrian's Digital Basement, Robin, Rudy's Retro Intel, Factor of Matt, and I'm not sure, Usagi. I haven't finished watching all the videos yet, so I'll see if I can see who that is. And I know that if you hold this just right, which I probably won't be able to do on camera, but in the cartridge port there, you can see that there's also a whole bunch of signatures on the inside. All right, so yeah, I guess this is going to go with me on my trip back to the West Coast. So it's going to drive more than halfway across Canada with me and see some sights with me. The first stop I made was 273 kilometers into the trip from Thunder Bay, at a place that I think I've stopped every time I've driven home from my cabin, Raleigh Falls. The Spectrum understandably did not want to get too close to the water. My next stop was to see a giant fish statue. 489 kilometers into the trip was Husky the Muskie in the city of Kenora on the banks of Lake of the Woods. I used the Spectrum for scale on how big the statue is. The final stop of the day was in the longitudinal center of Canada, 669 kilometers into the trip. I was now back in Western Canada. There were all kinds of things to show the Spectrum here. I introduced it to some polar bears. There was a slightly larger than normal sized lawn chair to relax in. It was a nice little rest stop. The next day I had all kinds of things planned, like stopping at a farm in Saskatchewan. Unfortunately, there was a small problem of 70-kilometer-an-hour winds that meant it just wasn't safe to walk around any fields with wind-spooked animals trying to hide. This kept up for the entire day, so the Spectrum unfortunately had to stay safely inside the car. The next day, the weather had changed to sunny and beautiful, so I made my first stop at Vegreville, 1,962 kilometers into the trip. Here, I showed the Spectrum the world's largest Ukrainian Easter egg. The nice weather, however, did not last. I made my first stop in the mountains at Mount Robson, 2,517 kilometers into the trip. This is what it's supposed to look like. This is what the Spectrum got to see. Unfortunately, the weather only got worse after this, so I could not make any more stops before arriving home. And home was finally reached near Vancouver, a road trip of 3,227 kilometers across more than half of Canada with the roaming ZX Spectrum. After that long drive, the ZX Spectrum was now on the west coast of Canada in the Vancouver area. Unfortunately, the day I got back was also the day that I had to pack it up and send it off to the next custodian so that it would get to them on time for something they were going to do with it. This meant that I didn't have enough time to actually do any tinkering or anything with it. All I could do is plug it in and try it out, play a few video games on it because, well, this was going to be my first experience using a real live ZX Spectrum, not an emulator. So let's see what I did. All right, I have the Spectrum hooked up. Time to see if it works. This is the first time I've ever actually used a European computer in real life, so and we've got a picture! Yay! And it even says it's reading in PAL. I thought my capture card would be able to do that, but as I said, I've never done this before. So I am partially familiar with the Sinclair keyboard. I have used the Timex computers, so I'm a little bit familiar with it, but let's make a little program. There we go. The first program I have ever written on an actual ZX Sinclair Spectrum. Sinclair ZX Spectrum, however you say it. Okay, so now the next thing to do is I have a couple of game cartridges here. So the Dandinator is the first one we will try. And there we go, we got some games. A little bit of Dizzy. Now, of course, I have absolutely no idea. Oh, of course, I don't have the sound hooked up, so you'll just hear the sound coming through my microphone. Jump to start. Well, I don't know which button is jump. Okay, so space is jump. Q is quit. Z and X are back and forth. And then there has to be something for pickup. Chucky Egg, one that I played. I've played this many times on the color computer, so. R to redefine. Up we'll go with W. Down is S. Left and right, and jump will be space. One player. Definitely a lot less green than the color computer version. All right, well, played Chucky Egg for a bit. Now, what I want to do is I want to try this Factor of Matt cartridge. So this currently has a 64 ROM game thing in it. So I've got here the list of the 64 different games. So the way that this works is it's got two dials on the top here that you turn to select your game. So, and we're currently set to Death Chase 2000. Keyboard. I've also played a very similar game to this on the Coco, so I basically know what I'm doing. I'm blowing up the other motorcycles and avoiding hitting the trees. One thing about it, all the different games seem to have different controls, so it takes a little bit of figuring it out to find out which controls you can play on, but now let's just randomly change the dials to get a different game and see what we come up with. Wow, I chose one that doesn't exist or doesn't run on this computer. Here we go. So, yeah, I have to say I quite like the Spectrum. Really good games, good graphics, good gameplay on them. So, yeah. As I currently try to figure out how in the heck I move here. Ah. Okay, so interesting. So you got to get the number 4 key, go down, unlock the 4. Oh, apparently he shot me. Get the 7 key. Okay, well, this is my brief time playing the Spectrum. I guess I got one thing left I got to do. It is now time to add my signature to the computer. All right, I guess I'll just go right up here. Right beside Adrian's digital basement. Perfect. Haven't seen Adrian in a while. So now I just have to let the signature dry for a little bit, pack this up, and send it off to the next people, which will be in Australia. Well, the Spectrum is packed up and it's shipped off to its next custodian. I do have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed playing the games on this computer. I guess this means I have to go out and find myself a real ZX Spectrum now so I can ditch the emulators, because I really enjoy just the feel and the look and everything else of playing on real hardware. It just seems so much better than using emulators to me. So this is the part of the video where I say thank you to my Patreons. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon of my channel, then there is a link down in the description. So thank you, Patreons. And I also have to say that definitely you should check out the entire playlist of the Roaming Spectrum. Support all the other creators that are doing something with this computer, like their videos, subscribe to their channels, comment on their videos. I'm just honored to be among some of these great YouTubers, and it's been a lot of fun. So check out all of their videos, check out the entire playlist, follow the adventures of this Spectrum right from the start and where it's going to continue going from here. All right, well, that is all I have to say for today. So thanks for watching this video, and I will see you next time.